I went back to England, and when they got me back there, they cut Dr. cut their cash off, and he said, "Uh-oh, you got a blood clot there." I had a blood clot on this, right in here. So he, nurse was standing there, and so he pulled a bottle of whiskey out and pulled me about that much into a glass and said, "Here, you drink this." And told the nurse, he said, "You hold him tight." And she grabbed a hold of me and held me tight. He cut a gash in here. And he, all he could do is just put one little chips on the inside there. And they went about 6 weeks before they could get it off, get the cash off. By that time it always grown shut. So I got a bit sore there now, but they couldn't sew it up on the outside. He didn't have time anyhow, they were busy.
Now I found the record of where you're at. It said on your records with for your Purple Heart, it told you what field hospital, 121st 21st field, some kind of hospital, station hospital, 121st Station Hospital in England. And that was up the coast from London, so how long were you there? You were there for quite a while, right?
Oh yeah, I was there for quite a while.
That was a station hospital located in England. That's where they, when you got to England, that's where they said they sent you to.
Yeah, but I'm trying to, they sent me to the hospital in France first.
Yeah.
And then they sent me over to England, and I'm trying to, I went to the 121st. I spent time there, and then they 121st, and then they
transferred you to another hospital?
They transferred me to the first general hospital down just outside of London.
Oh, okay.
And I was there for a while, and I was up walking around and had shoes, and I'd go to town on the pass and so forth. And so they were going to send me home because I had no, I couldn't use, well, the 121st when I was up there, I couldn't use my arm. And so it's kind of hazy. I can't remember too much of them, but sent me down to this one outside of London. I was there for a while. Finally, they sent me back up to a hospital where they
rehabilitation
hospital, and they sent me up there, and all they said there was you're a sergeant, you're a staff sergeant, you don't have charge of this barracks, you see your guys get up in time in the morning, go to breakfast, just keep the place clean, see that they keep it clean and everything else. So
So you were in charge of the other wounded there?
Well, they said, you ain't going back. I report, and when they're down in London, I report to, I didn't know it, but they report to send me back to the United States. And I went to town that day, and that night, and I didn't get back in time. And so they sent me up there, and so while I was up there, I got pulled around. I went over. I got talked to a nurse one time, and she was a rehabilitation nurse. And I got talked to her, and she said, "Well, what's the matter?" And I told her about my arm, about I couldn't use it. And she said, "If you don't mind," she said, "you come over tomorrow morning after I get done with everything else, and she said, let me work on that arm. So I go there, and she would take my shirt off, and she'd massage it, she'd rub it down, and just work it, and she'd keep it under the heat lamp. So when I get done now, she said, why don't you go down to the gym down here? So they had a gym where had all kind of stuff on. So they had stuff coming out of the wall, and I'd have to take both hands to pull one of them out. And then try to hold it with my right hand. And so I did that for a while. And I got doing pretty good. I got to the point I could take and pull it out. So for the fun of it, I said, okay, I'm gonna
Go ahead. Just gonna grab a pencil.
I'm gonna try running the optional course. Because that's what you had to run before you go back overseas. So I'd go out and I'd run it. I'd only do about the first 2 or 3 deals that you had to do. But after a while I was doing them, and then I picked up 1 or 2 more that I could do. Finally I got to the point I'd run the whole thing. And I wouldn't break no records at it, but I was doing it. So then about that time back home, about the Belgian bullets happened. They're getting around December. So I ran it, and so they got to the point they had to, they were grabbing anybody could walk, they were sending them back to France. And so I went through there in this Lieutenant Colonel. I went through it, and I passed it. I went through the course, and I passed it. He looked at me afterwards when I came up to him. He said, Sergeant, he said, now, did that arm give you any problem? I said, no. I said, I went through the course. I do pretty good. But I said, I'm not throwing anything. I said, don't bet me to throw any hand grenades. And he said, I said, now if he'd hate to give you a problem, he said, say something. I said, it wouldn't do no good.